For 15 months, a man was missing. His parents searched everywhere. They called his phone again and again. They went to the police. Sometimes they even received messages from him. Short messages. I'm busy right now. I'll come back after making some money. So his parents believed he was still alive, working somewhere far away, trying to solve his financial problems. What they didn't know was that their son had never left home. For 15 months, he had been inside his own apartment the entire time. And when the truth was finally discovered, it shocked the entire country. The two people at the center of the story were Li and Wei. They lived in Suzhou, a large city in eastern China. The couple ran a small real estate agency together. They had a young daughter. From the outside, their life looked ordinary, busy, but stable. Friends later said the couple argued sometimes, but nothing that seemed unusual, nothing that suggested anything violent. In November 2021, Li and Wei traveled to Wei's hometown in Anhui Province to visit his parents and attend a family memorial. It was a normal visit. The family ate together, talked about work, played with their granddaughter. A few days later, Li and Wei returned to Suzhou, and soon after that, Wei disappeared. At first, his parents thought he was simply busy. Running a small business meant long hours, but when they called him, he didn't answer. They tried again the next day, still nothing. Then they sent messages, no reply. Days passed, then weeks. Eventually, they contacted Li. Li told them Wei had run into some financial trouble. Apparently, the real estate business had accumulated some debts. To avoid the creditors, Wei had decided to temporarily leave the city and work somewhere else. He just needs time, Li explained. He'll come back after things calm down. The explanation sounded reasonable, but something didn't feel right. Wei had always been close with his parents. He wasn't the kind of person who would disappear without saying anything. Still, with no other explanation, they tried to believe her. And then something strange started happening. Occasionally, Wei's WeChat account would send messages. WeChat is a popular messaging app in China. The messages were short. I'm busy these days. Don't worry about me. I'll come back when I've made some money. For Wei's parents, these messages were a huge relief. At least their son was alive. At least he was working. But something about the messages was off. They were always short, always vague, and no matter how many times the parents called, we never picked up. Weeks turned into months. And still, the only communication they received were those short messages. The parents kept asking themselves the same question. Where was Wei? After several months, the parents became too worried to ignore it. They traveled from their hometown to Suzhou and reported their sons missing. But when they spoke with the police, they heard something unexpected. Li had already explained the situation. According to her, Wei had left voluntarily because of financial problems. There was no sign of crime, nothing suspicious. The case wasn't treated as a disappearance. Still, the parents felt uneasy, so they returned to the police station again and again. In total, they reported the situation 4 times. During one visit, officers even collected the parents' DNA in case anything turned up later. But nothing did. Meanwhile, Li appeared cooperative. Sometimes she even accompanied the parents to the police station. Every time, she looked worried, supportive, helpful. Every time the parents started to panic, another message from Wei's account would appear. I'm working. I'm okay. I'll come back soon. But there was still one question that no one could answer. Where was Wei? Months passed, then almost a year. Life in Suzhou continued. Neighbors saw Lee going to work every day. She picked up her daughter from school. She spoke casually with people in the building. Nothing about her behavior seemed unusual. But during this time, Lee quietly started taking control of Wei's affairs. The real estate agency they owned had several partners. Wei still held shares in the business. Without telling his parents, Lee arranged to sell those shares. The money went directly to her. She also began asking Wei's parents for financial help. She said the company was struggling. She said Wei needed money for business opportunities. Sometimes she said she needed help supporting their daughter. Each request sounded reasonable, and the parents trusted her. Over time, they sent her about $20,000. They believed they were helping their son survive a difficult time, but more than a year had now passed, and Wei still hadn't come home. So the same question kept coming back. Where was he? Looking back later, investigators noticed something unusual. During the entire time Wei was missing, Lee's electricity usage was extremely high, much higher than most apartments of similar size. Something in the apartment had been running constantly, day and night, for more than a year. But at the time, no one paid attention to that detail. The mystery continued until May 2023. One morning in May 2023, Lee walked into a police station in Suzhou. She calmly told the officer she needed to report a crime. When the officer asked what had happened, she said something shocking. I killed my husband. At first, the officer assumed the crime had just happened. But Lee said it happened 15 months earlier. And then she said something even more disturbing. The body was still inside their apartment. Police quickly went to the apartment. Inside the kitchen area was a large freezer. When officers opened it, they discovered Wei's body inside, frozen. Investigators later reconstructed what had happened. On November 29, 2021, just days after their returning from their hometown, Lee and Wei had a violent argument. The conflict involved family issues and problems with their business. During the argument, Lee killed Wei. Then she placed his body in the freezer. From that moment on, she began a deception that would last 15 months. The messages to his parents, the story about working in another city, even the financial requests, all of it was part of the same lie. When the case was finally revealed, it shocked people across China. But what disturbed many people the most wasn't just the murder, it was the calmness. For 15 months, Lee continued living a normal life, talking with neighbors, raising their daughter, even sending messages to her husband's parents, pretending to be him. But lies like that can't last forever. Eventually, the pressure became too much, and the truth was revealed. For 15 months, everyone asked the same question: where was Wei? The answer turned out to be far more horrifying than anyone could imagine. He had been at home the entire time, inside a freezer, just a few steps away from the living room.